Okay, so we're starting. So, first of all, I chose this topic of how Aboriginal students learn, and that was my demographic. I chose it because I'm fascinated by the topic. I've worked in Aboriginal education for 3.5 years, and myself actually being Aboriginal, um, this sort of thing's sort of close to my heart. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this, and I was very interesting to find out all the information that I've been researching. So, a few key points. So, I found out that Aboriginal students actually um, like they Aboriginal students they obviously learn differently to the majority of other cultural groups. So, and this is because they're influenced by their culture and their background. So this essay that I've written will demonstrate an understanding of how actually specific teaching and learning strategies effectively assist Aboriginal students. Um, you know, it firstly explores how teaching and learning strategies assist in the teaching of literacy and the subject of English, and secondly, it explores how teaching and learning strategies assist in the teaching of numeracy. So yeah, Aboriginal history and culture is rich and diverse. There's around 670,000 Indigenous people in Australia, which represents 2.5% of the population. So, language is at the core of Australian Indigenous culture. Uh, as at the time of colonisation, there were around 600 spoken languages. However, today there is actually only 60 to 20 to 200 healthy languages remaining. So really, language is a huge thing, and it's one of the barriers. It's one of the major barriers actually that Aboriginal students face. And with the vast amount of schools actually teaching in standard Australian English in Australia, obviously this is going to cause issues. So one of the ways, you know, we need to be overcoming this issue is using teaching strategies. So you know, um, so sort of teaching strategies include. I just lost my place. Sorry for a second. Uh, so yeah, Ashman 2015 states strategies such as cooperative and collaborative learning assist students through peer-to-peer learning. So in addition to this, uh, Ashman further argues scaffolding learning experiences is another achievable way of assisting students. Um, Other strategies that can also be used include simplifying language. So, using language that is simple, avoiding colloquialisms, you know. So, in addition to this, ensuring both verbal and written instructions are clear and concise also helps learners. So, yeah, it's really evident that there are strategies out there, and obviously putting them into effect um, will help, obviously work towards ensuring students achieve literacy outcomes. But before really entering into that, before implementing such strategies, really first and foremost, teachers really need to be aware that Aboriginal students um, and their culture, it needs to be accepted in the classroom. They need to be aware of the language. So they really need to, because if it's not acknowledged in the classroom, it really therefore greatly affects and impairs their learning. So, yeah, obviously acknowledging it is a significant step. Um, yeah, so it's obviously evident that through these particular teaching strategies, they actually work towards ensuring Aboriginal students, achieve in literacy in the discipline of English. So, numeracy in mathematics. So, really, to succeed in numeracy, Aboriginal children really need to be literate in standard Australian English, and and therefore possess sound foundational knowledge of English skills. So literacy complements numeracy, and literacy comes before numeracy. So you know, though they're vital. They're really, really vital for the success of students in school as well as after school when they leave. So, in addition, when thinking about teaching Aboriginal students numeracy, their cultural needs need to be taken into account. You know, because as Howard 2001 states, the learning and teaching of mathematics is dependent upon the cultural and social contexts in which they take place. So, it's therefore vital that that is taken on board in a learning environment and a teacher takes that on board. So, yes, so some strategies surrounding numeracy. You know, it's given the importance of ensuring that classrooms are culturally accepting. One way of doing this is actually incorporating Aboriginal ways of learning. So, this can be achieved by using Yunka Porter's 8 way of learning, which significantly assists in ensuring Aboriginal cultural ways of learning are incorporated. So they're actually tailored around Aboriginal students and how they learn. So they actually include, so the 8 ways, some of the actual elements of the 8 ways, or the 8 ways feature story sharing, community links, deconstruct and reconstruct, non-linear, land links, symbols and images, non-verbal and learning maps. So these actual 8 ways can be incorporated into a mathematics lessons to cater for Aboriginal students. So they're actually using their traditional ways of learning in a modern context in the classroom to actually help them learn. So another strategy that can be used is two-way learning. So that's actually really important, and that's actually between a white person and an Aboriginal person. So they're both expertise complement one another. So they involve making resources. Those two people are involved at every stage of the student learning, and that's in order to achieve results that improve learning outcomes for Aboriginal students. So that's another big thing, two-way of learning. Using two-way teaching methods in a learning environment significantly assists Aboriginal students. They significantly assist Aboriginal students with numeracy learning as they are more engaged and feel included in learning situations, which leads to successful learning. So that was from the Department of Education that said that. There's obviously a vast variety of teaching strategies out there, and specifically strategies like I've mentioned here in numeracy. So concluding, it's therefore evident that Aboriginal students learn differently, and in order to combat this, there's a vast amount of teaching and learning strategies that are effective. So things like through specific strategies such as acknowledging Aboriginal culture, using Yunka Porter's 8 way of learning and 2 way of teaching and learning in the classroom significantly assists in effectively teaching numeracy. So similar can be said about English. So through strategies such as collaborative learning, scaffolding, and use of simple language, and actually acknowledging Aboriginal culture in the classroom also significantly works towards effectively teaching literacy. So thank you very much for listening.